We are now on question 4 of the Prima pars in St. Thomas Aquinas' Summa. So question 4 is about the perfection of God. Is God perfect? Is God perfect universally? Can creatures be said to be like God? These are the 3 questions or 3 articles of this section. Article 1. Whether God is perfect. Objection 1. It seems that perfection does not belong to God. For we say a thing is perfect if it is completely made. But it does not befit God to be made. Therefore he is not perfect. Reply. As Gregory says, though our lips can only stammer, we yet chant the high things of God. For that which is not made is improperly called perfect. Nevertheless, because created things are then called perfect, when from potentiality they are brought into actuality, this word perfect signifies whatever is not wanting in actuality, whether this be by way of perfection or not. Okay. Objection 2. Further, God is the first beginning of all things. But the beginning of things seems to be imperfect, as seed is the beginning of animal and vegetable life. Therefore, God is imperfect. Reply. The material principle which with us is found to be imperfect cannot be absolutely primal, but must be preceded by something perfect. For seed, though it be the principle of animal life reproduced through seed, has previous to it the animal or plant from which it came, because, previous to that which is potential, must be that which is actual, since a potential being can only be reduced into act by some being already actual. All right. Before actuality, there was potentiality, and before potentiality, there was actuality. And God is ultimately the only thing which is totally bereft of potentiality. He is pure actuality. Objection 3. Further, as shown above, God's essence is existence, but existence seems most imperfect, since it is most universal and receptive of all modification. Therefore, God is imperfect. Reply. Existence is the most perfect of all things, for it is compared to all things as that by which they are made actual. For nothing has actuality except so far as it exists. Hence, existence is that which actuates all things, even their forms. Therefore, it is not compared to other things as the receiver is to the received, but rather as the received to the receiver. When therefore I speak of the existence of man, or horse, or anything else, existence is considered a formal principle, and as something received, and not as that which exists. Something received. Interesting. Taking a sip of my yerba mate. On the contrary, it is written, "Be you perfect as also your heavenly Father is perfect." Matthew 5:48. I answer that, as the philosopher relates in his Metaphysics, some ancient philosophers, namely the Pythagoreans and the Leucippus, did not predicate best and most perfect of the first principle. The reason was that the ancient philosophers considered only a material principle, and a material principle is most imperfect. For since matter as such is merely potential, the first material principle must be simply potential, and thus most imperfect. Now God is the first principle, not material, but in the order of efficient cause, which must be most perfect. For just as matter, as such, is merely potential, an agent, as such, is in the state of actuality. Hence, the first active principle must needs Hence, the first active principle must need be most actual. It has to be the most actual, and therefore most perfect. For a thing is perfect in proportion to its state of actuality, because we call that perfect which lacks nothing of the mode of its perfection. Okay, this is interesting. I'm definitely going to have to read this several times before I understand everything that's going on. So, thank you for tuning in. Thank you for joining me on my Summa journey.